As a small but important note, you will have the best experience if you download a proprietary, configurable text and/or script editing program that will allow you to have color coding and formatting that will help you with organization and ease of access. These include programs like CodeLight and Notepad++, though for this example, we will be using Notepad++. You absolutely can use a normal text editor like Notepad or anything integrated into your system, but you will not have features that I will cover and explain soon. I will provide a download link for both CodeLight and Notepad++ in the description, as well as some basic links to codes and setup. Jumping right into things, let's go ahead and set up a basic custom story and all of the required files you'll need to be able to get started. First, we're going to navigate to the Amnesia: The Dark Descent main file. Chances are most of you have the Steam version, so going forward we will be using that. That being the case, the easiest way to do this is to navigate to your Steam library. Locate Amnesia: The Dark Descent in your list of games, right-click on it, go down to Manage, and hover over it. You will see a menu move out to the right, and then click on Browse Local Files. You will now be in the root folder. From here, locate custom_stories and double-click on it. It'll most likely be empty unless you have previously made a story or have manually installed one. Create a new folder in here and name it whatever you would like. We may have to refer back to this later. For this example, I will name it Test Level. No spaces, and capital letters at the beginning of each word. Open this folder, and within it, create another folder and name this Maps, all lowercase. Again, we will come back to this later. Now, create a .text document and name it custom_story_settings.cfg, all lowercase. Make sure that the .cfg replaces the .text extension. This will be where all of the basic information is defined and gathered for the custom story in the selection screen, as well as what displays the background image. Next, create a second .text document and name this, all lowercase, extra_english.lang, again ensuring that .lang replaces .text. This is where all of the text entries for notes, item descriptions, messages, journal entries, and more will be stored and referred to by the map script. Speaking of images, although you can do this later, you can select whatever .png image to use as your background image by placing the image inside the test level folder alongside the .cfg and maps folder. Now we will make a basic map we can refer back to in order to make later steps easier. Now, where do we find the editor? Because if you look in Steam, you won't find it under any of the files. It won't be a separate program that you have to open. So where you actually find it is in your Amnesia main file, your root file. As before, you can reach it by browsing local files, as we did earlier when we were setting up the other custom story files. But an alternative way to do that, and also to access your root file in general, is to do it like this. What you're going to want to do is locate the SSD, HDD, whatever it is, and you're going to want to locate your Steam library. So mine is down here. So we go ahead and open that up. You're going to double click on Steam Apps, Common, and then locate Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Double click on that, and then if we scroll down in here, you'll see amnesia.exe, Amnesia no Steam. You'll see a couple exe programs, but what you're going to want to click is, it should be right below the launcher, because this is all in alphabetical order. You're going to want to click on Level Editor. So if you double click on this program here, leveleditor.exe, there's no icon. You'll open up your level editor, and all of the repositories and files that you would need to draw from this root folder will automatically be loaded into the program. So you don't have to worry about that. To make your life easier for future times that you want to open the program, what you can do is right click, and then you're going to want to click on Show More Options if you're on Windows 11 like me. Hover over Send To, and then you'll see Desktop, and in parentheses, Create Shortcut. So you'll just make a desktop shortcut so you can find it and you don't got to go digging through the files again. Saves you a lot of headache. I'm going to jump in here real quick before we proceed with making the quick test map. Just wanted to cover some of the basic controls. Every single movement that you see me doing here is controlled by the mouse and the Alt key. The one you're probably going to end up using the most is this rotational direction here. So this is controlled by holding down the Alt key and clicking left click. Clicking and holding both of these buttons will allow you to pan the camera around in a centric view. This will always rotate around this blue orb here. Zooming is performed by simply scrolling up and down on the mouse wheel. Scrolling up zooms you in, scrolling back zooms you out. The next control we're going to cover is planar movement. So planar movement is performed by, again, holding down the Alt key and clicking the mouse wheel down. We're going to click down on it and drag. And dragging allows you to get almost like a bird's eye view, as if you were flying in a plane over your map. Last main control we're going to cover is the detail zoom. So this is more of a slow zoom instead of doing the mouse wheel. The mouse wheel is incremental, but this is more precise. This action is performed by holding down the Alt key and holding down right click. When you drag up, it zooms you in, and dragging down zooms you out. And that's about it. Although this editor is rudimentary and looks intimidating, don't panic. It really does become easier to understand and retain, like riding a bike. Most editing will be done in the 3D view, so hover over the 3D window, which displays in the bottom right corner, and press space. Pressing space any other time from this point on will exit you into the 4-panel display again, but pressing space over the 3D again will return you to normal. Next, go up to File, Save As, and this will show you the Amnesia root folder again. Navigate to Custom_Stories, Your Story folder, and then to Maps. Double-click on this. Name your map something similar with underscore in the place of where a space would be. We will do Test Room 1. This is your map file, and will save as such. Once you're done with that, take a look at the left-hand side of the editor panel. You will see a bunch of different icons, but for now, we're going to click on the button with the shapes called primitives. Primitives are essentially going to be geometric planes and mostly function as floors and ceilings. Once you've selected this tool, navigate over to the right-hand panel, which in general is where most of your configuration options are held for placed objects in the level. This plays a crucial role in mapping and, in a lot of cases, scripting. With the primitives tool selected, click the 3 dots under Material, double-click on Static_Objects in the list of folders, and for this, we will use the Castle base. Double-click on Floor, and then we will use this Castle base _ tiled floor 02. Press OK. Now, draw out a 16 by 16 grid on the floor. You can get creative with this, but in general, it's best to lay out your walls first, and then place the floor plane to avoid awkward wall spacing. Usually, in general, multiples of 16 is a good metric. In this case, 16 by 16 is a perfect square room, 1 wall object per side. Now we'll place the walls. On the left-hand side again, click on the red brick, also known as the Static Object tool. This is where you will find almost 99% of your walls, some special ceiling blocks, and really any object or set piece that has no physics built into it. You can again explore this and see what you'd like, but we're going to use the castle base again and scroll down until we see walls. We'll click Default and just place 4 walls to close off our room's sides. You can press Q and W to rotate objects, and you can also hold left click to get a preview of where your object is going to be placed, and rotate it to your need by pressing Q and W. Release, click to place. Make sure your walls are closed on the edges. To make a roof, go back to the selection tool, click on the floor plane we placed, and press Ctrl D to duplicate it. Move the plane up to the height of the walls, and over on the right-hand side panel, click the Rotate Transform setting. Rotate it until it's completely flat, but flipped upside down. Line up the ceiling squarely with the floor plane. Congratulations, you now have an enclosed room. Now we will create a PlayerStart area. This is where your character will spawn upon opening the level. On the left-hand panel, you'll see a cube made of black lines right below the ghost icon. This is your area tool. Click this, and then on the right-hand side, click the drop-down. Scroll all the way down and click on PlayerStart. Click really anywhere on the floor of the room you made to place this object down. If you navigate back over to the Selection tool and click on the PlayerStart area, you'll notice a name for it on the right-hand side. This name really can be whatever you want, but for this case we're going to leave it alone, and we're going to refer back to that when editing our text files. Now to add some light, because as is, this room will be completely pitch black. This is going to be a super basic example that will make the room look ambiently brighter, i.e., light that isn't coming from a light source, like a candle or a lamp, or from a point light or spotlight. This is just going to be, the whole map will look like this, as long as it's within this lighting area. On the left-hand panel, right below the Selection tool, you will see a yellow light bulb. Click this and have a look at the right panel again. You will see another drop-down menu. We're going to keep this selected as box light for now, but there are two other types of lights that are in here that we will discuss in the future. With box light selected, drag a box that is slightly larger than the floor size of your room on the grid. Keep in mind, letting go of left click will determine the height of the box based on your mouse movement. So make this roughly at least 2 units taller than your room. Once you're done, left click again. Now click on the Selection tool again and click on the light bulb icon on your map. Move the box down 1 unit to avoid it clipping into the floor. Having the box light selected will also open up options on the right panel again. Navigate to the bottom of these options to where you see the diffuse color and double click on the white box. You can set the color of your light to whatever you'd like it to be, but the best option would be somewhere in between white and black, so we will do a medium shade of gray. This is essentially tied with the brightness of your light, so the darker the color, the less bright the light will be, and vice versa. Now to edit the text files. We did it. We're in the final stretch of the very basics. From this point on, I'll be working in Notepad++, but regardless of what text program you're using, it's really all the same. It's just words and symbols, and that's all the computer needs. As mentioned before, there will be some quality of life features missing if you use something like the pre-installed Notepad program. Examples of this being, as said before, color coding and automatic formatting. But really, this is all just personal preference when all is said and done. For CFG files and Lang files, which is what we're going to be editing, those features are not needed or really helpful at all. It's just recommended to ensure ease going forward with scripting. As for everything you see me typing here, it should be 1-to-1, unless stated otherwise, and indentation to the right in text, like shown on screen now, is just a press of the tab button. I will provide a copy and paste down below in the description for these if you don't feel like typing it out yourself, but again, it's good practice. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and get started here. First, we're going to edit the custom story settings.cfg. As said before, this file is what draws entries for text, for the description of the custom story, for the name of the custom story, for everything like that. So we're going to go ahead and just do that real quick. So to start out, we're going to go ahead and start by typing an open caret, and then we're going to type capital M main. And this is basically going to open up this entry here. And then going forward, everything in between here is going to be tabbed in one indentation. So we're going to press enter, tab, and then we're going to type name equals 2 double quotes. And then we're going to press enter one more time. Capital A, author equals 2 double quotes, enter. And then we're going to type IMG with a capital I, and then capital F, file equals 2 double quotes. And then we're going to press enter 2 times. And then we're going to do capital M, maps, capital F, folder equals. And for this one, we're going to type 2 double quotes. And we're going to go back 1 space and type all lowercase maps, and then a /. And then we'll go down 1 line again. Capital S, start, map, with a capital M, equals 2 double quotes, And in these quotes, we're going to put whatever you named your .map file in the editor. So one-to-one exact thing with the .map ending. So for this case, it's going to be test room1.map. That is going to define the map that your player will start at. Speaking of the player, we'll go down one more line. Capital S start, capital P O S equals double quotes. And in this, we're going to put whatever you named your starting area that we placed in our test level. In this case, we didn't touch it, so player start area _1. And we will go back to these top ones. And then we're going to press enter one more time, and we are going to type extra lang file prefix. And this is to differentiate it from the main English lang file, which we will define below. And then equals, double quotes. In these quotes, we're going to put extra, all lowercase, underscore. We'll press enter one more time, and then we're going to type capital D, default, capital E, extra, capital L, lang, capital F, file, equals, double quotes. And in here, we're going to put all lowercase English dot lang, and then click outside of the quotes, enter, backspace, / and then a closing caret. We're going to go back up to these, and we're going to define these in here. So name in these quotes is going to be anything you want, whatever you would like your custom story to be called when you select it in the custom story selection screen in the game. So we'll just call it HPL test level. And then we're going to go down to these quotes here, and in between these two quotes, again, you can put whatever you'd like. I'll put HPL toolbox. And then an image file. If you put an image in here, you're going to need to copy the name of it with the .png at the end of it, copy the name of it, and just paste it in here. And for this case, I have it right here, so I'm going to copy and paste that. We'll put it there. And there we go. And up here in the top left, just remember to click save. That is all you need for this file. So we're going to go ahead and move over to the extra English.lang file. For the time being, this file is going to be pretty basic. There's not going to be anything too complex in here. We just need to put enough things in here for the game to start so that we can test our level. So we're going to go ahead and start off with an open caret, and we're going to do all capitals language, and then a closed caret, enter, tab, open caret, category, and then space, and then name. This is not going to be capital. Equals, double quotes. And then at the end of this, we're going to put another caret. We're going to press enter, tab one more time, open caret, entry, name, equals, two quotes again. In those quotes, we're going to put description. And then at the end of that quote, we're going to put close caret and an open caret. And then we're going to put / entry, close caret. We'll press enter one more time, backspace, and then we'll just close this entry out. So we'll do an open caret, / all capital category, and then a closing caret. At the very end of that, we're going to press enter one more time, backspace, open caret, / all capital language, and then that's it. We're actually going to press enter one more time, just to be sure. So now this is, as of now, all that we really need to put in here. And for the name, you're going to want to put this. We'll just do custom story main. This has no effect on the name of the story. This is just what the game refers to when it's calling this text entry back. So then you'll see right here below that, if we go down one more line, we'll see entry name equals, in quotes, description. The description is what it will say next to the description of your story. So to add a description, we're going to click in between these two carets facing each other right here. And in between these two carets is where you're going to want to put your text. So for this, we're just going to put test description. Yeah, test description. And then we'll remember to save, and that should be all we need. So these two files will be edited further the more that you add into your story. But as of now, we're just getting a baseline set up so that you can move forward, and I'll show you how to do more in future tutorials. So this is just the basics. This is to get you started. And if you feel like reading more yourself, I'll put links in the description to the Frictional Games wiki. You can kind of get a feel for it, but this is just a launch pad basically. So with these two files done, we are pretty much all set with this. So now we're going to go ahead and launch the game. All right, so now we're in the game, and we're going to go ahead and click on Custom Story, and we're going to click on HPL test level. So whatever you put your name entry as here for your story, that's what will show up here. So we're going to go ahead and press OK, and you can see here, by HPL toolbox, HPL test level, test description. There we go. We got the image file displayed back here. It is all stretched out, so, you know, the higher the resolution of the image, the better it will show up here. But for this, it's just for test purposes. So we're going to go ahead and click start and see if the environment that we set up here works. And there we go. So as you can see here, we have our room, we have our ceiling, we have our floor, we have our walls. We have our box light working here, providing just enough light to keep our sanity good in game. As you can see, not losing any sanity. Got our journal. Everything here is accessible. And yeah, so clearly everything we did worked, and hopefully the same can be said for your custom story. And moving forward, we will add more to this. We will expand on it. And eventually we will get to talking about specific script functions. We did not set up any scripting in this tutorial because scripting is actually not necessary to get a custom story to run. So a custom story can run without a script file. It can run without any code being written. It just won't have as many bells and whistles, and you won't be able to utilize any functions that scripts can offer, which is a tremendous amount. You can really build an atmosphere. You can play music. You can do whatever. You can trigger events to happen, and we will absolutely cover that in future videos. But for now, we have a level that will run. We have a description that will show up. We have images that will show up. We have everything that we need to get started from scratch, essentially. So I hope that this tutorial was helpful, and there will absolutely be more to come. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me down below, and I will be sure to answer them as quickly as